Hi, this is Brass Check, and we're recording this on March 2nd, which we are declaring Carl Schurz Day. And you're probably saying, Carl Schurz? Who the heck is that? Well, there's a good reason they don't want you to know who Carl Schurz is. He was born March 2nd, 1829. He's an American, though he started in Germany where he was a revolutionary, but he ended up as a general in the Union Army. So he's quite a unique character because most generals in the U.S. Army are, I'm trying to think of a polite word for them. They go with the flow, whatever the flow is. They have the integrity of, snails. So Schurz, very interesting guy. He said some really important things. He is the guy who said, my country, right or wrong. How many times have you heard that? The problem is they left out the second part of Schurz's quote. Here's what he said. My country, right or wrong. If right, to be kept right. And if wrong, to be set right. So he didn't give the government of the United States or Americans in general a blank check to do anything they wanted. A patriot believed in his country. He believed in keeping the good things going, protecting them, defending them. He also believed in setting the wrong things right, which includes looking at them and talking about them. Now, how many times have you been shut down by someone who says, if you don't like it, get out of America, or go to Canada or whatever? Okay? No. Our job is not to march in goose step with whatever maniacs happen to be running the country at a given time. Yeah. Proud of our country and our countrymen, and I'm with it right or wrong, to keep it right when it's right and to set it right when it's wrong. That's real patriotism. That's not the bogus chicken hawk patriotism that we get from all the draft dodgers who are ready to send us all to war at the drop of a hat. Here's another amazing quote from this guy. If you want to be free, there is but one way. It is to guarantee an equally full measure of liberty to all your neighbors. There is no other. Wow. Here's another one. Ideals are like the stars. We never reach them, but like the mariners of the sea, we chart our course by them. How many cynical, seemingly know-it-all people mock you for having ideals and idealism? We should have ideals, right? Doesn't mean we're going to hit them 100%, but if we don't have ideals, what's going to guide us? So, all these, know-it-all jackasses who think that it's naive to have high ideals, they're just making excuses in advance for their own depravity and their own cowardice. So here's the Union General. Ideals are like stars. We never reach them, but like the mariners of the sea, we chart our course by them. How do you like that? Now, there's actually a preamble to the My Country, Right or Wrong, and here it goes. The peace and welfare of this and coming generations of America will be secure only as we cling to the watchword of true patriotism. Our country, when right, to be kept right. When wrong, to be put right. Remarkable, isn't it? And you ever heard of them? You know, they do a very good job of writing all the decent people out of American history and all the revolutionary people out of American history. Now, why do you think that is? Here's another one. I confidently trust that the American people will prove themselves too wise not to detect the false pride or the dangerous ambitions or the selfish schemes which so often hide themselves under the deceptive cry of mock patriotism. Quote, our country right or wrong. They will not fail to recognize that our dignity, our free institutions, and the peace of and welfare of this and coming generations will be secure only as we cling to the watchword of true patriotism, our country when right to be kept right, when wrong to be put right. And he repeated this often. There's a lot of quotes where he integrated that. It's a good plan, right? It's a good way to stay on track. Here's another one. This is very relevant to our times. We have come to a point where it is loyalty to resist and treason to submit. So that's Carl Schurz. And if you live in New York City, they honored him, or if you visited New York City, they've honored him by visiting, by creating Carl Schurz Park, which when I was a kid was a very dangerous place. I have a feeling it's a much nicer, gentler place than it used to be. But anyway, it's on the Upper East Side, and it's in a nice part of town. It just used to be a little wild, but it's not so. I've heard it's not so bad anymore. So this is his day. We're going to call, this day in March every year, Carl Schurz Day. He came to the United States, if you want to know a little bit about him, after the German Revolution in 1848 and 49, and he joined the then new Republican Party. He became a general in the American Civil War, a Union general, which is kind of amazing. That's not easy to do. He's known as a statesman, a journalist, and a reformer. So he was a real journalist. He helped found what was a short-lived party, the Liberal Republican Party, and he became an advocate of civil service reform. He represented Missouri in the United States Senate, and he was the 13th United States Secretary of the Interior. How do you like that? He had a newspaper in St. Louis, of all places, and won election to the U.S. Senate, becoming the first German-born American elected to that body. And he broke with Grant after the war to start the Liberal Republican Party. And their big deal was civil service reform. I guess then, like now, civil service could use a little reforming. Not all of his opinions are things that I would necessarily agree with, but that's okay. We agree in principle. And the principle is our country, right or wrong, when right, keep it right, and when wrong, correct it. So that's Brass Check on March 2nd. We're going to call it Carl Schurz Day because he was born this day, March 2nd, 1829. For people that like to know the details of somebody's service, he took command of a division under John C. Fremont and was part of the Second Battle of Bull Run in August 1862. And then he was assigned to lead a division in the 11th Corps at the battles of Chancellorsville and Gettysburg under General Oliver Howard. After Gettysburg, he was deployed to Tennessee, where he participated in the Battle of Chattanooga. And he was with Sherman in North Carolina, and he was chief of staff of Henry Slocum's Army of Georgia. So, he saw some pretty serious action, and again, there's some things he believed. I'm definitely not saying everything this guy did and said was great, but I will say he got the main thing right. Carl Schurz.